Hello, it is July 26, 2022. I can't believe it's almost August. This is the SOS Show with James Lott Jr. I'm James Lott Jr., super organizer. It's almost August. I really don't know where the time has gone. We're actually at the halfway mark, almost past the halfway mark of the year. Christmas is coming, kids. Did I just say that? Okay, my guest today, I'm going to a Christmas con in 2 weeks. So that's be very interesting to go to that. It's be very interesting. So Christmas is here for me. But my guest is the owner of Bizzy Bee Organizing in Columbia, Maryland. I have friends in Maryland. I don't know where Columbia is. I ask where that is. But I have friends in Baltimore and other places in Maryland. But I'm curious. Apparently, Maryland's like the state. I don't know. Everybody knows Maryland out here. She believes that being organized, this has to do with perfection. I agree with that completely. And more with efficiency. That's exactly what I say all the time. There's such thing as perfection at all. Help me welcome Toula Adu. How you doing, Toula?
I am great. So happy to be talking to you today.
Same here. You saw me at one of the big conference things I did. I spoke and acted crazy or whatever and did what I did. And she was one of the ones who said, yeah, I want to come on your show.
Yeah.
Like, are you sure you want to do that? Are you sure? She said, yeah.
I love your personality.
Thank you. I know I'm just a little crazy, but all my shows, I begin all my shows with thanks and gratitude. I've been doing this for 8 years.
Okay.
Almost 400 episodes of the show. So I can't believe I'm heading towards that. But I do thanks and gratitude. So my thanks and gratitude this week goes to all what they call themselves my Lotties. My last name is Lott. My fan base calls themselves Lotties. And I have to tell them they have shown up and shown out this last 2 weeks. I have added some new stuff to my business. I've revamped my business. I'm in the middle of revamping it. And you all are showing up. So I want to thank every person so far who's bought merchandise that I'm selling now, which is at jljmedia.threadless.com. Everybody who's buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/James Lott Jr. or has gone to my Patreon, which is my subscription service, patreon.com/James Lott Jr. I added all of those to my stuff, and you are showing up. And you're going to my website, alotofhelp.com, where I talk about my organizing and my life coaching on there. And I just want to, literally, I would not be here if it wasn't for you. And I don't say that with any irony at all. It completely would not be here if it wasn't for you. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So this is what I'm doing. I've been doing it for 13 years. I want to continue doing it until they have to just roll me to the chair and I can still talk. I'm going to do it until I crack. So thank you very much to all of you. And I have thanks and gratitude for Toula for coming on. I'm going to give you a chance. Do you have anything you want to say? Thanks and gratitude yourself.
Oh my goodness, there's so much to be thankful for. But you know what? I'm thankful for the summer. So on top of being a professional organizer, I'm also a school speech language pathologist. But I do not work in the summer. So I've been off since about, the end of June. And I have about 3 weeks left in my vacation. But I'm just thankful for a chance to just stop with the craziness and spend some time with my kids and my family and stuff. So
how many kids do you have?
I have two.
You have two. And what are the ages?
So one is 7 and one is 10, 2 girls.
Oh, 2 girls. I had 2 girls. So you have school-age children, and are they the same school do you work at?
They are, yeah. So they actually could go to the school down the street, but I work within the county, and so they actually I take them to school with me. It works easy for our family because there's no bus or pickup or stuff like that. Yeah. And it just works and it's a blessing to be able to have them there. Sometimes I walk by their class and wave. The 7-year-old always runs and gives me a hug. The 10-year-old, I don't know what I'm going to get. Sometimes it's Mom, and I'm embarrassing her.
Exactly. My brother felt that too. My mother was a librarian.
Okay.
She was like, why is she here? Me, I was like, I don't care. She said, good, that's my mom. That's fine. Sure. Yeah. Can I get a book? Yeah, that's how I was. I didn't care. Now, so then how do you, so you're in the education field.
Yes.
Where did the organizing come from?
So I have always been an organized person. I asked my mom about this the other day, and she said, honestly, she rarely had to ask me to clean my room. I've always been neat and tidy. I know as a kid. And I do remember then, I remember looking down on my little sister, she's so messy because she would stuff her drawers, and her backpack always just had stuff falling out of it. I just wasn't like that. And I know not all organizers were organizers when they were little, but I literally have always been an organized person.
Wow. So have I. And I grew up in a big family, so we always were given a wall. The boys, we each had our wall when we were growing up. put our posters and stuff up. My wall was very nice and neat. There was Prince and Madonna and, whatever, Whitney Houston, like the 80s kids.
Yeah.
I had all my stuff up there, very nice and neat. My brother, it was all messy over here and things half stapled on there. I'm like, no, my little area was always nice and neat. So I do agree with that. So then how do you organize the bell? Both worlds for you, because I do several worlds also. I do the media and the organizing. So how do you use? Well, I guess in some ways it's kind of related on some level, but also it's very different doing education and then doing organizing.
Yeah. So really, at one point, I didn't think that I'd be able to have this business and also, do my my school job at the same time, because I'm like, I don't have enough time, right? And really, what was happening was I kept like having clients call me or someone say, hey, can you help me with this? And it wasn't really fully a business yet. And I just decided, you know what, I have to do this. And it was hard at the beginning because I'm like, how do you juggle two things at the one time? But you have to figure out what your why. And I tell my clients that all the time. But for me, my why was I really love to organize, but not even just do it. I like to help people and help them feel like it's attainable and achievable. And so what happened was I thought about my why being my family, right? Yes. And the idea was that I really want to be able to spend time with them. And so it made it really simple. And so this past year, I've had more clients than I ever had, but it was also really easy to figure out how many clients I could take on, right? Because I have another job. And I realized that I could probably do one day during the week, an evening, right? Okay. And then I would organize on Sundays. Oh, and initially I thought, I'm not going to be able to find clients who just like want that. And I've had no problems. I've had zero problems. They're like, oh, that's okay. I'm like, I just want to let you know, I mostly do everything on Sundays because Saturday we spend a day as a family. And it goes back to my why. That was my non-negotiable. I'm like, I know I could also have clients on Saturday.
You could. Oh, yeah.
But then I'm like, but I want a day where it's just my family. And so sometimes we don't do anything. Sometimes we go out, whatever it is that we do. But it's like giving us space, and they're the reason I'm doing this anyway. So it works out that I'm able to do my 9-to-5 job during the school week. I don't take paperwork home from that job, and then I focus on organizing on the weekends.
Wow, no, I like that. No, yeah, you could. No, it's really funny. We don't always realize unless you ask, unless you make that out there in the world. All kinds of schedules happen when it comes to people. People are like, oh, so you only work evenings from 5 to 6? Okay, I'll take it. It depends on the person, but there's a lot of different things people will accept that will fit into your schedule.
Exactly.
But yes, I'm sure you can be busy all weekend. I'm sure you can get clients on Saturday too. And that's the thing. See, it sounds like to me, you're not chasing the money.
I'm not. You can't. That's never great. Okay, of course you want to make money.
No, you will get paid.
Right? But the point is, like, you have to figure out what the other things that you're chasing are, or when you just chase the money, it's going to be a headache. And it was so easy because I would sit down at the beginning of the month and be like, how many clients can I take? Oh, this Sunday, like I knew, for example, when June came, in June in my life every year, and it tricks me every year, we have my husband's birthday, my daughter's birthday, the end of the school year, the kids had a dance recital. So then my daughter's birthday party, like it was just crazy. Yeah. And so I had less clients in June, for example, but because I wasn't chasing the money, I wasn't scheduling people and having to cancel or trying to squeeze people in. I was like, I guess I'm just not really available in June. And it was fine.
Yes, I agree. I'm the same way. I'm just like, okay, here's the month coming up. These are things I have to do. These are things I want to do.
Yeah.
And I fill it in. And I've been doing that recently too with my business. I've been like, tailoring it more to what I want to do. And that's the thing. And if someone can't make it happen that way, well, then we'll keep working till we can, or it just doesn't happen. I'm like, there are very few times I will change. Every once in a blue moon, something emergency-wise will come for somebody and I'll do it. But most of the time, because you're teaching people how to treat you in your business.
Exactly. And what's the point? I also said to myself, like, what's the point of having your own business? It's mine. And I can't do it, right? The way that I would like to do it. I got to do it what works for me. So, yeah.
Yes. That is something I want people to take away from this. They don't take anything else away from this episode. It is your own business. It means you are in charge. You run things however you feel and see fit.
Yeah.
That is something, like I said, if we chase the money or defer to the clients all the time because we're afraid of blank, blank, and blank, it becomes their business.
Exactly.
It's not your business.
No. And then you almost can't since you're the expert and the one who knows what you're doing, you almost can't practice that well if you're letting other people run the show. And so, and I think like in today's age, especially on social media, where it's so easy to see how people are running their business, when you're a new entrepreneur, you almost think like, well, there must be a book that tells me exactly how you have to do it. But you realize eventually you have to start adapting. And that's what I had to do. Like, hey, what works for me, right? Because there's no point in me having this business and I'm exhausted and grumpy about it. It's mine. So I get to do what I want. And then you can clearly communicate that to your clients.
Yes. I do have 3 books on how to be an entrepreneur, but my books are this. No, but my books are this. My books are very much about freedom of choice. Me and my co-writer just talk about our experience.
I like that.
Like I do in the speaking gigs I do. I just tell you my experience. I'll tell you what I found.
Yeah.
It's up to you to cherry pick what you pick out of it and go, that works for me, or I'll try that thing, or I'm not gonna, that's not really for me. I'm not going to do that. I mean, I'm not a one size fits all person.
Because it doesn't work for anybody. Yeah.
No, it sure doesn't.
Yeah.
But I just want people to know that it's your business. So you tailor it however you want. You can take advice and listen to people, but ultimately it's for you. But when it comes to your clients and stuff, you have to stick to your ground sometimes. I raised my prices recently.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, if they can see it, I like that. Thank you. And I said I hadn't raised them in 3 years because of COVID. I just hadn't done that. I didn't. Everybody's money was funny. LA was crazy out here, so I didn't do as much organizing. We were locked down all the time.
Yeah.
And COVID's rampant again out here. So I'm doing very little in-person organizing. But after 3 years of no raises, that you long-term clients knew every year always raising a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm catching up to what it is, and I'm doing less organizing in person.
Yeah.
So I want to make it for myself. If I'm going to leave the house and be around COVID and monkeypox and all the crazy stuff that's going on out there, make it worth my while.
It has to be, yeah. And also understanding, I think we trick ourselves to like, well, maybe it's not that valuable of a service, but you know that it is. I have so many people. I mean, even my own sister, she asked me, she was having a baby. She's like, can you please come to my closet? It's a mess. And I just want it to like be put together before the baby comes. And after I did it, she was like, I never would have done this. Right? And how many people say that, right? And that's because they don't know how to do it, right? And so you have to like, that's one thing I've had to learn as an entrepreneur. The service you provide is valuable. And maybe there is someone who can't afford it, right? But that doesn't mean your service is not valuable. That just means we all have things we can't afford. I'd love someone to come remodel my bathroom right now.
Okay. No, and seriously. And the thing is, for me, I've been in business 13 years. So I think whatever I choose to do, I'm worth every single penny.
Yeah.
And you're right. There are a lot of folks, especially, and for me, because I work with a lot of African-American and Latino-American clients. Okay. They just don't know this is a service.
I know.
They know housekeeping. They know gardener. They know electrician. They know plumber. When I say organize, they're like, well, what do you do? And then when I do it, after that first time, like, oh my God, I see my floor again. I didn't know this was something. I'm like, that's the point. We kind of have to show them that we're just as important as all these other concierge businesses out there.
Yeah. And I think that's hard to do. You're right. I definitely find that like in our community that they don't know about it as much or what that looks like for them, right? So for example, one message I talk about a lot is you don't have to have the biggest house, for example, for it to be organized, right? Because I have a client who called me once and she's like, my house is like literally 900 square feet. I said, okay.
Yeah.
Right. And we did some work in her house and she was just like, my closet is so tiny. I have no idea how you did that, but like I can see my clothes, for example. But I think sometimes what you see like in magazines or in TV, right, is a lot of, on top of perfection, a lot of like, oh, look at this huge house or this huge pantry or this huge. And so someone who, what they feel like lives in a regular, which really is a regular, but they might think smaller type of living space. They're like, well, that's not a service that would benefit me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think, and I understand, I try, and also in some of these cultures, they feel like, well, I should be doing it myself.
That's true.
So, but they don't know that it's okay to ask for help, or it's okay. Cleaning is one thing. Organizing and cleaning are not the same thing.
They're two different things.
Not the same.
They're not.
So learning how to figure out spacing and spaces and utilizing drawers, in a way that's correct and best used for it. That's a different skill. And not everybody has that. It's okay. So yeah, you clean your house, that's great.
Yeah.
I'll come and help you organize it, and it's gonna be even better. So I was
and you also might clean a little bit less.
Yes.
If it's organized.
Yes. Exactly. No, we talk about this on the show all the time. So I do that. Now, how long have you been doing the organizing portion?
So I've had my business officially 3 years.
Okay.
But really on and off for like 7 years. But again, didn't officially make it a business till a few years ago.
Well, what made you decide to make it a business and not just like continue as a hobby?
The fact that I could get paid doing something that I loved.
Okay.
No, when I realized other people were getting paid to do this, I'm like, oh, I do this all the time, or just for a friend or whatever. So, and then also believing that I have the time to do it.
Okay, that makes sense. So now look at your website right now. It's cute. Yeah. So you have hands-on organizing, the virtual DIY organizing, consultations, and presentations. Yeah. So presentations, that's all self-explanatory. I want to go into the virtual part thing because I want to know. I'm looking here. So I'm going directly from her website, which is I'll make sure the website correct. Everybody know this. BizzyBeOrganizing.com.
Yes.
That's right. Make sure you get that on there. And that's Bizzy for those who are listening. I'll put it.
It is. It's Biz. So when I named it, I have my eldest daughter is named Isabel. We call her Izzy.
Oh, I love Izzy. I love that name.
And so it's just kind of my little homage to my baby girl.
My granddaughter's name was almost Isabel. That's so funny.
Oh, it's a forever beautiful name.
I love that name. I love Izzy. She's going to be Izzy B. That was going to be for sure. That was going to be the whole thing. So I love that your daughter's that name. How ironic. Okay. So it says for virtual DIY organizing done by client, one room, virtual space assessment, action plan, product recommendations, 2 follow-up calls. So that's what I'm going to ask you, because I don't do virtual organizing. I do presentations and hands-on, but I am providing courses on how, which I could say, I guess it's virtual, I guess. How has that been for you doing the virtual organizing stuff?
So the virtual organizing was really helpful, especially during COVID. I think that it's a challenge. It's really great, but can be challenging at the same time. It depends on the client because and that's why I say a lot at the beginning, like you will have to do the organizing, and some people just aren't there yet, and they find it really overwhelming. One thing I've learned from doing it is I have to spend some time on camera with my client decluttering.
Okay.
And that has helped a bit. So I'm like, take it all out. And they're like, even if it's just a shelf, I'm like, okay, you're going to do this tiny closet. Take one shelf out. And they're like, you want me to take it? I'm like, yes, I want to sit here with you. But what I'm able to do is to help them look at what that declutter process looks like. Because if I verbally tell them what it looks like, that doesn't really help them, right? But when they're able to do it with me virtually, they're like, oh, okay. And when it doesn't take as long as I thought it would take at the same time, and they kind of have an idea of like, well, I'm either going to put this in donation or to trash or whatever. They're like, okay, I kind of feel like I could do this on my own.
So that's the key sometimes, that you're still there. Quotes.
Yeah. I wasn't doing that at first. And I realized like I would give them homework and it wouldn't get done. Right.
That makes sense, guys. That's my thing, because a lot of my clients couldn't do it. They're just physically can't do it. For I've got a lot of older clients who can't do it, but I have some that could, and I'm thinking there are some that could possibly do it. They were like, they're already kind of organized on their own anyway. A lot of times I'm there as a cheerleader. Yeah, what we do, and kind of get some motive because I'm there. I've heard clients say to me, knowing I'm gonna have you for this 3-hour period once a week, that's when I know I will get stuff done. Yeah. Because you're in the room with me. Because you're here, Interesting. So I learned a little something. I learned something today. Like, that's an interesting thought. Because COVID. I mean, how was COVID back there for you guys? I know I hear it's very different out here, but how was it out there for you guys in Maryland?
It was the same. I mean, I still actually remember the date. It was March 13th when the school shut down here.
We all have our day. Ours was March 17th. We all have our days. Yeah.
And everybody was whispering, and we were going to have spring break soon. And they said, they're just going to close until spring break, because that year spring break must have been around Easter. I don't remember. Yeah. But they're like, we'll just close for a couple of weeks. And then after spring break, we'll decide. And then we all know we never returned. But pretty much it was, I like to say, so this might be contrary to what people believe, but I believe it was a blessing in some ways. Okay. I feel that as crazy as it's been, as tired as we are, my kids actually are here right now because their summer camp closed down due to COVID this week. Hey. The numbers were getting too high, and they're like, we're just going to close it for a week and resume next week and hope that things are better. So I'm annoyed by it still. I have friends and family, right, that have lost people to it.
Okay, yeah.
The other end, though, was I think we all collectively like exhaled and was like, we were just kind of like, we get to slow down, right? Because everything shut down. We couldn't go to the store. We couldn't do this. We couldn't do that. And we all realized, I think that, man, we were kind of running and going at a crazy pace. So I do think the one blessing in it was it allowed us to all, as human beings, just reevaluate what was important to us. And that is my motto. Like, if you're my friend, you know that I'm always evaluating what's the most important to me, like right now at this moment, because what's the point if you're like exhausted again and like angry and I don't know. So yeah, I do think for me, it was just a nice pause. It was crazy though. I had a kindergartner who did kindergarten virtually. Like there were crazy parts of it too.
I feel bad for the parents. I'm sorry, I'm a grandparent, so I had to do all that stuff. I felt bad for your parents. I did. I felt bad for the kids because of the social aspect, because of what they're not getting, because of that.
Yes, exactly.
But I know for the parents, I was like, I don't know math. I don't know. I'm like, how am I going to do anything to help these people? Because I know some of them even had to homeschool their kids because the school's just like, we're just not open.
I know that. Yeah. Yeah. I think, again, it was one of those things when anything crazy and bad happens, as awful as it may be, like there's something that you can try to get from it and not necessarily learn, but just like pause and think about. So I know for me, it was kind of like what I really want my life to look like when I come out of this pandemic.
Out of tragedy, beauty can be born, I always say.
Yeah.
And there's always lessons in everything. So that was something very same here. So it was like, and I know for us organizers, it was like, I remember everything stopped because we were like, what we mostly do is go to people's homes.
I know.
It was crazy. I had a lot of friends. We all started calling each other and doing Zoom meetings like, well, what's next for Andrew?
What do you, if you can't go? Well, it's funny that you talked about the workshops. That's something that I'm looking to do next is I have all this, it's like all on paper and I just need to do it. But I know even almost like some of the things I talk about in my presentations, I want to put those into workshops just to have something that lives online, but also, it's another way for us to generate income as well as professional.
Do it.
I will.
Do it. No, seriously, I'm doing it. It's been, and see, I was doing it pre-pandemic. I was starting the process. And then I had some in-person classes too. And of course, like I said, March 17th for me is everything shut down. So we thought, be a couple of weeks, we'll be back. And that's what I kept saying. And it was, in LA, we were shut down. We were locked down for 4 months in LA.
I think we're about the same here. Yeah. Or longer. It was crazy.
But here's the beautiful thing. We survived. All of us organizers somehow, like I said, recalibrated, found our ways.
Pivoted.
And we did. And I'm talking to all of you now. I'm like, we all can kind of chuckle about what happened 2 years ago. But like, that was 2 years ago. Like, we're here. You are here.
Yeah.
So I think it's wonderful. So what do you get out of being a professional organizer? What do you get out of it, Toula?
I think I get the pleasure of helping people like where they live, like to really be happy with where they live. So my other motto is and I want to do over my website. So this is super clear because I've figured out what it is. Okay. But organize where you live is just my motto as an organizer. Again, and it comes back to like, well, hey, this is the home you live in, right? Even if you only plan there on being 2 years versus 10 years, it's temporary. Like whatever the reason is, I love when I help clients and they have a space again that they thought just would forever look crazy. And for some reason they were motivated enough to call me and I'm able to, it's not just about helping them, but they're like, oh, this one, like, because you shouldn't live somewhere where a place stresses you out, like a bedroom stresses you out, or a closet stresses you out. Because really it's just filled with things.
Right.
And just helping them put that in a way that they're able to manage it, that they would not have been able to do without that support. That's what I get out of it. I really feel like I'm helping people enjoy where they live.
Yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, I just feel I believe this with all of my heart and my soul that when things have a place, when stuff has a place, when you have systems in place, life is better. It really is. It doesn't solve the problems of the world or anything, all that kind of stuff, but it solves the problems of your space.
It does. It does.
I just believe that.
It makes, to me, it almost makes the things that you do every day more simple, right? Like I was making my daughter pancakes today, for example. She loves pancakes. And it's easy. I know where the measuring cups are. And I'm not like fighting in the drawer to get it. Or I take down this container that has pancake mix and I'm like, oh, this is running low, right? Like, and I added it to the grocery list. I don't know. And it sounds crazy, but you kind of just go through life a little less chaotic because you're not always looking for things or trying to find things or fighting with things. You're just enjoying, again, your space.
And I just agree with that. I like knowing where my scissors are. I have some right here.
See?
So I'm just telling you, I love it. Look, seriously, I love it. The other day I was looking for a ruler right here. I mean, I know everything.
I don't. My family, if they say, what's Toula's pet peeve? They know it. They're like, oh, mom can't find something. And I'm like, who did put it back?
When they say that it takes an average of 17 minutes to find some, I'd rather be watching TV than for 17 minutes to looking for some scissors.
Exactly.
The last thing I want to go in. That's basically almost a sitcom without commercials, 17 minutes. I'm like, I'd rather be able to watch a comedy than be sit here doing that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Toula, for being on the show. You're wonderful.
Thank you so much for having me.
Your success. I know that you're doing both the school stuff. You're doing important stuff. You're doing God's work. You're doing education, and you're doing education
on two levels. Yeah. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. You're always welcome back. And tell people now it's your turn. I'll put stuff in the description. But now it's your turn to promote yourself.
Awesome. All right, guys. So I'm Toula from Bizzy Organizing. As James mentioned, it's with an I, BIZZYBEE. That is my Instagram handle, my website, my Facebook page, Bizzy Organizing, everywhere, really. And please look me up, see what I'm doing. I'm always educating, especially on my Instagram page. That's where I'm the most active.
Now, in terms of hands organizing, clearly it has to be in her area. But for virtual, it could be anywhere, right?
Yeah, so I'm in the DMV area. So if you're in the local DMV area, I can help you out. If not, you can be a virtual client. Yes.
I know what the DMV stands for. I know what all means, those three areas.
You know what I'm speaking like? I've only been here 5 years, but I guess I used to live in Michigan.
That's somewhere totally different. That's somewhere totally different. Oh my goodness, so funny. But
if you're near DC, if you're near kind of the Baltimore area, Maryland, Virginia.
Oh yeah, Delaware, all that stuff. It's all that. I know that area. I know all that area. Some great folks there. Great folks there.
It's a great area.
I'm James Lott Jr., Super Organizer, lottahelp.com. There's a page called superorganizer.com right on there too. So you can go there and see all my goodness for organizing and life coaching. We are on. I'm everywhere, folks. James Lott Jr. Just type in my name, you'll find me. But specifically for this show, the Super Organizer Show is on Facebook and on Twitter. It's also on, and also Super Organizer on Facebook and on Twitter. But James Lott Jr. is everywhere you want to be. So just type in my name, you can see that. Thanks so much for listening. If you're listening on podcasts, we love you. You're on every audio streaming service platform. That's from Spotify to iHeartRadio to Google, Apple. We are everywhere. Type in the SOS Show. You will find me. You'll find it. And on YouTube, my online network that I started 2 years ago. I'm one of the few men of color who has his own online network. And that is huge. I'm proud of that. I'm very proud of that. And that is JLJ Media. Go there, hit the subscribe button. You can watch her colleagues, other people. We have like almost 400 shows on there from the last 8 years. Check out Organizing is really wonderful. But it's called the SOS Show with James Lott Jr. We will see you next time. Be careful out there. Take care of each other. Have compassion and get organized. Do it.